good, LL Nation? The Onora boys are in the building. Lucky Lefty Podcast. I'm your boy, Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics. That dude right there, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. We are brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It is that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you're going to drink, by all means, make sure that you do it
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Don't forget Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Smash on that like button. Apple Podcast, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of your great content for CFB Nation, State of Recruiting, John Garcia Jr., and all of our great shows. We gave you 2 shows yesterday in one because we truly spin it different. Today, we're going to discuss Marcus Freeman. 1 year later, what have we seen from the head coach? We'll hear what he said a year later and the way he spoke, and then we'll compare it to how he spoke after the bowl game this year. Some interesting things we might be able to pick up on, Left. Then we're going to talk about the unsung heroes of the 2022 Notre Dame football season. Should be a pretty interesting conversation. And then Virginia Tech transfer wide receiver, now Notre Dame wide receiver, Kaleb Smith, joins us at the top of the second half of the show. I'm excited, Left. Anytime you talk to a Virginia boy, because Virginia gives you different vibes, Left, depending upon, where you come from in Virginia. Interesting in hearing, because he's in between 2 major cities in a county where he grew up. And I'm interested in knowing what the vibe was growing up in this county. We'll talk about it with the Virginia boy, Kaleb Smith, coming up shortly. Unsung Heroes in a 9-4 season, Left. Who stood out for you as an unsung hero?
I think the second half of the season, you get a guy like Braden Lenzy, who had high expectations going into the season with Chancey Stuckey being the new coach, him feeling finally comfortable in his skill set, his ability chasing his last year. Didn't start off fast, but loved the second half of the season that Braden Lenzy had. Capped off the bowl game with a touchdown, made Sports Center top 10 with the number 1 play, not just in the top 10, made it with the number 1 against a game where it was kind of tight versus Navy, and we needed a score of that magnitude to seal the deal.
Yeah.
Commend him on a lot of things that he did, even at the end of the season in the bowl game, getting open on that slant. We saw the release package. We saw him get better and evolve, and in my opinion, hit the ceiling on his ability and his career that he wrapped up at Notre Dame, and it was good to see. So, unsung hero because we had a lot of laughs early in the season and before the season with his trajectory of where he was going and what was going to help help him have a great season in the quarterback play. But overall, I think he did help his team win in some clutch moments, made some big plays and some unsung plays that he made that, we'll give credit to him here, especially if he doesn't necessarily get it on the main stage.
He definitely had some clutch plays in that Tax-Slayer Gator Bowl, and you love to see him go out the way he did, and be a true example of 4 for 40 for Notre Dame. Like, he should be the poster boy in 2022 for Notre Dame football with that bowl game, the way he was able to go out on the field, and then to easily transition into corporate America immediately. Like, that's beautiful. And a young man that we knew, it would be questionable whether or not he would have a draftable grade just because of the lack of production, inconsistency at the quarterback position this year. Because he was able to do that all year, Left. Really, he was open all year. His numbers should have been much better, extremely better, and I really love seeing a senior that's put in a lot of work for the program being able to go out like that and to step away on his own merit and show success because he's a Notre Dame man. You know, that network, that education is worth something. I,
Definitely.
I think.
And
Go ahead, Left. I'm sorry.
like you said, it's good to see the track. He was able to get in there early, made some splashes, made him a sort of a household name. I remember him from that reverse that he had versus USC for the touchdown. That's when he kind of came on scene from, man, we got some speed at the position, which we
Hmm.
haven't seen in a while. Put me on radar for Braden Lenzy when he was 25, and he went to zero these last couple of years. But it's just it's something that Marcus Freeman can reflect on having different type of guys that come through Notre Dame. You got your guys that come through out of your three and out, like potential Ben Morrison. You got your guys that stay all five and have a successful career at Notre Dame and end up choosing not to go to the league and it was okay, like a Braden Lenzy or a guy that, you know, you have everything in between. So not everything at Notre Dame has to be you come here, we're gonna grow you, develop you, go to the league. It can be grow you, develop you, have a great career, and you have options. And I think Braden Lenzy is a great example of that, and something that recruits can look towards is not being a bad thing either.
I'm going to. It's what's so funny, man. I actually was up late last night. Why I have no clue. And the replay of the Gator Bowl came on. So I'm like, all right, let me entertain myself here. And we caught the quick slant on a key third down in the fourth quarter. I said to myself, man, people have been playing off of Braden Lenzy a long time. Why in the world wasn't he able to do this before? And then I said to myself, oh, that's right. This is why.
Yeah, Coach Stuck, he's been great. I mean, from a technical standpoint, I feel much more developed. There's a lot of plays that seemed a lot more difficult in the past. They just make a lot more sense now, and understanding defenses and how I should run a route and when I should and should not use my speed and things of that sort. Been a tremendous help, and just the whole culture of the room seems very bought into what he's brought, and it's paid off. I mean, although low in numbers, I can't remember a camp where we felt this dominant at receiver. I know for myself, I've never played this well, and I credit a lot of that to the coaches, and to be selfish myself, just I think this offseason buying in even more than I had in the past, and really just kind of laying it all out for one last year.
This man was saying he basically had never been coached at the position, bro.
Exactly.
That's
He
why he's
said,
an unsung hero.
until the very end, till I really got some coaching where I actually knew what I was doing and it made sense and it clicked for me. It's a very, very powerful statement that was unsung during the season and how much more Marcus Freeman added in just one half of an offseason. He added coaches that can
Yeah.
coach.
What a novelty, huh? What a novelty.
Imagine that. He added coaches that can coach. And the players himself that's been there for the longest. He said, I finally know
Mm.
what to do. Now just imagine all the players outside of Braden Lenzy during his time that was out there playing off of pure talent. You got to credit recruiting in some ways, but at the same time, the imagine where we could have went if we knew what we were doing. Look at that. If we just knew what we was doing, we could have been probably undefeated every year. So if he didn't know what he was doing, I know Kane Madden didn't know what he was doing. I know that Kevin Austin didn't know what he was doing. Avery Davis at least tried, got on YouTube, but even him didn't know what he was doing.
Dude, I feel like the previous coach was treating the wide receiver room like that cat Rico was talking to Ace after he got shot and paid in full. You'll be all right.
Yeah, you be all right, though.
Cats get shot every day, B.
Yeah,
You
you
be
run routes every day. It's just, it's what you do. You're a receiver.
right.
It can happen.
Like, don't worry. We don't have to do nothing extra, B. Nah, you need no coaching. Just go out there and run. Lucky Lefty podcast. Another unsung hero. For me, Xavier Watts left. Let me tell you why. Notre Dame suffers injuries in fall camp. Avery Davis goes down with the ACL. That's your main slot guy. That's your leader in the room. Then Tobias Merriweather is having issues. Deion Colsey is having issues with his hamstring. Numbers are depleted in an already depleted and thin wide receiver room. Xavier Watts, who was recruited to Notre Dame as a wide receiver and was moved halfway through his freshman year to safety, had a talk with the staff, and they actually moved him to the wide receiver room. This is just weeks prior to the Ohio State game. I'm sitting there watching practice, and they're doing one-on-ones and scrimmaging, and Xavier Watts is making plays all day. It didn't matter who was sticking him. Second string DB, first string DB. He's going up over the top of cats, snagging balls, catching balls come across the field, making plays after the catch, balling, balling. And you're saying to yourself, okay, man, he's a playmaker. We might need to get him the ball. Little did we know, in the background, he was telling coaches, look, I'll do it for the team, but I really don't want to play wide receiver. Like I'm in love. I'm in love with safety. That's what I want to play. But if you want me to go play wide receiver, I'll do it for the squad. Coaches sit down, they have a conversation, and literally days later, they make the decision, you know what? Let him play safety because he's becoming really good at it. And we started to see as the season came, the season developed and got into the late part of the season. Yo, this guy Xavier Watts keeps making plays.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the Gator Bowl last night, and I'm like, yo, this guy Xavier Watts is always in the right spot. He's there. He's making plays on the ball. And this is
SC
really
game,
his,
he was
yes.
making plays.
And this is really his first season of being able to play. So now give him a full off season with that experience. Like I think he's really an unsung hero. I really don't think people understand what he went through in fall camp. And he's really come on to be one of the bright spots of the season and one of the things you can point to in the future to say, you know what, that could be a championship piece right there for Notre Dame.
Absolutely. To be able to show versatility, selflessness, and then be able to still stay competitive and then evolve wherever the coaches are putting you, it shows that you'll be a key piece and a value to a team because not only do you have value in the depth that you can add in multiple positions, but you can play special teams and then your aggressiveness along with your size, because isn't he like 6'4"? He's a tall guy.
Yeah.
He's not no little statured or little frame type of individual. That guy's he's stringly big, So for him to be a threat and a value and an impact player and a 2-3-way player from a position wise, man, you're getting a lot of versatility and dynamic ability and athleticism under that defense that you can do a lot with. You can play him in man, you can put him in coverage, he has the ball skills of a receiver. He has the understanding of route concepts because he played offense, and he's also aggressive enough to make plays in the box in the run game and also at safety. So being able to do his thing in multiple facets is another example of what we're recruiting at Notre Dame under Marcus Freeman. A lot of two-way guys like Brandon Hillman who can play a similar role where late in the season, certain guys go down, we can plug these guys in and move them around, move some things around, and not miss a beat. And that's going to be not only what was unsung because he became more of a household name later in this season, but for what it's going to look like in the future and him becoming a future star in that secondary.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Talking unsung heroes right here. Shaun Davis, Malik, Zaire, Zeke Correll. And I'll let you roll on this one. The importance of the center to that offensive line and to the quarterback. I worked with a guy, John Yurkovich, for years at my former employee. And he always told me, Shaun, the closer you get to the ball, the more intelligent the guys have to be. I said, wow, I never really heard football spoken about like that. And he's saying, I'm not saying other guys aren't intelligent, but in order to play certain positions closer to the ball, you have to have a guy that knows the game, that knows what he's doing in order for things to go smoothly. And I said, wow, all right. And every time you talk to a defensive player, you hear them talk about the technician that Zeke Correll has become and how great he is as leveraging and how he's hard to move. And that really wasn't what we heard about Zeke last year. We had Zeke questions about Zeke coming into the offseason and going into this season. And with a tough first game, you talk about somebody unsung that quietly came on and by the end of the season was one of the rocks besides the two stalwarts that we have on the outside at both tackle positions. Zeke Correll, for me, was an unsung hero.
100%. You look at Zeke Correll like the support beam in a house. It's the unsung thing that's holding everything together. You may have nice paneling and roof and some windows and doors look all fancy. You may have acrylic, glass stained windows like the church. But that support beam is what holds it all together. And Zeke Correll being a foundational piece in that middle, providing some semblance of a pocket every time for a guy like Drew Pine to literally stand still in a majority of games because the center of the pocket was good. Just shows how much Zeke Correll came on as a technician. It's also that level of comfort knowing your center's going to be able to settle guys in the line because he sees the most on both sides. And he's also sometimes in some cases making checks for protection. And a guy knowing what he's doing is definitely a comfort because the snap's going to be there, which is where it starts. And when you get consistent snaps and no matter what weather or terrain or what's going on, your technique is great. A guy that is a very unsung hero, played a lot of football at Notre Dame, but I thought even though he was the smallest of the linemen, was one of the had the most technique and the most impactful was Sam Mustipher, who's also playing right now in Chicago and doing a good job.
Don't mention Sam Mustard for the Bears fans, bro. We're trying to. I don't want to start a riot in the chat. Just stick to him at Notre Dame. Don't
But
mention him
at
with the
Notre
Chicago
Dame,
Bears.
Notre Dame, unsung hero, played 4 years, a captain, really good dude, and was able to be productive. But him having the knowledge of having the offense under his belt for that many years, I mean, he was a part of that undefeated season when they went to the playoffs. So it shows how much a great center with experience can add to a team. Maybe not Chicago.
Who was your center?
I had Sam, I had Nick Martin.
You had
Yeah.
both of those guys. Those two pretty good centers. I always, man, it's a weird relationship between center and quarterback, right? Like, 'cause I always feel like that's the easiest relationship. You know how you can have somebody that is easy to like say what you need to say to them, and it goes both ways. Like,
Yeah.
dude, what's up with that snap? Like, you screwed up on a snap count. just going back and forth. That's just part of football. It's like a brotherly love type relationship, best friend type relationship. Like, all right, man, get it together. Lucky Lefty podcast, Unsung Heroes. We'll leave this up to you, LL Nation. It's our LL question of the day. Was Drew Pine an unsung hero in 2022? We discussed it. We went back and forth over it. We're going to let you guys decide. Was Drew Pine an unsung hero in 2022? I'm interested in seeing what people have
Is
to
there
say.
a game where Drew Pine, if we didn't have him, we would have lost terribly? Like if he just didn't play, is there a game we would have lost without Drew Pine?
Mm.
Like if we didn't have Drew Pine in this game, we would have. It would have been over.
Mm.
I don't think so. I think that every game that Drew Pine played was a game that we could have won because we were the better team. If Drew Pine was the reason why we beat USC, then I can look at that and be like, okay. But no, I mean, I think we would have went the same record with the quarterbacks that we had in the room outside of Tyler anyway. Maybe not Ron Paulus, but that's only because I have no idea what he looks like on the field either.
Yeah, I guess. You had someone else that you felt like was specifically in the second half left that was kind of an unsung hero, don't you?
Who did I say? I said Braden Lenzy.
Your boy 27?
Why am I drawing a blank?
He doesn't even know who he had on his list.
I know.
JD Bertrand, man.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was drawing. I don't know why I drawn. Yes, I said JD Bertrand at the second half of the season was around the football a lot more. I think he was a good centerpiece of communication for some of those younger guys who were filtering in towards the end of the season, especially the bowl game. I've always thought that he took on the challenge of getting better from that last bowl game and to have a better bowl game the second time around than the first time after giving that speech. Definitely unsung hero because he was able to stick it out through the criticisms, when teams were singling him out and running one-on-one with the running back, to him being a good, valuable piece and a nice transition piece for younger guys to come into the system and learn and play well off of him. He may not be the star linebacker, star player, but you should definitely have a JD Bertrand on your team in some aspect.
Now, this is going to get interesting because I feel like in some way, form, or fashion, a lot of people didn't recognize this guy when he was hired. Very quiet hire, came over from Cincinnati. But Brian Mason has to be considered an unsung hero.
That wouldn't be unsung.
No one. You didn't expect Notre Dame special teams to do that, bro. Come on, man.
No, well, I'm just saying he was getting credit throughout the season, though.
Once they got to like block number 4 or 5.
Yeah, but I'm saying like even with that, we were still blocking it. SC gave Brian Mason a ton of credit.
A ton of respect. They didn't even want to bring their unit on the field. They was like, you know what? We're gonna pooch punt.
So you're not unsung if that happened. They was like, we are not keeping any chances.
Man, you don't want to give Mace some love?
I give him love on he was a big piece, an impact player.
Oh, absolutely.
He was a star. He was a star on the team.
Facts.
Wasn't nothing unsung about him. Without him, we probably, who knows how that Clemson game could have really,
turned out. Man, speaking of showing
right away.
Man, speaking of showing love, LL Nation, continue to show us love. We appreciate you, man. We broke all types of download records for CFB Nation last month as a unit. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. Leave us 5 stars. Leave your comments. We greatly appreciate you. Set up the automatic download, man. You need that coming into your life, coming into your smartphone, tablet, iPhone, whatever you're listening to us on, man.
Smartwatch.
All of that. Like we need that. Download that daily. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. We spin it different. Now, the biggest question left, Marcus Freeman. Kid might fit the criteria of an unsung hero, bro.
Not at
Because
84.
after the 8-2, first of all, don't disrespect him. He's 9-4, bro. Don't disrespect him. Don't disrespect him like that.
9-4.
Don't disrespect him like that.
That was crazy disrespect. Crazy.
In some ways, right? Because we have to keep it funky. That's what we do. Like, there's two sides to everything. I think we decided, like, yo, the cupboard was not as full as some people thought from a depth standpoint. We later learned that Marcus Freeman wasn't exactly pleased with the middle of the roster and how it was built up. He had to deal with, let's keep it real. There were some guys that had been around under the previous regime that kind of pushed back at the beginning of the season. Didn't want to fully buy in. Tough loss against Ohio State, but they played well. You came away from that game like, okay. Coming to the home game with Marshall, Tyler Buckner plays one of his worst games of the season. Gets injured. Going to the Cal game, Drew Pine just first half. Can't get right. And then he went back to the identity of the football team that he said nearly a year ago.
I kind of told him this today in the team meeting, is that I have a vision and identity I want for our team, and that's to be a team that can run the ball and stop the run, right? I believe in our O-line and our D-line being the foundation of our team. And so I'm excited to see if that can become our identity. That's my vision. I also want to see a team that's aggressive. You know, that's one of our mantras, challenge everything. What does that mean? It means be aggressive. Do not play timid. Do not play scared. Think outside the box offensively and defensively, schematically. Be okay with taking chances.
I know one thing, Marcus Freeman, that's the coldest Notre Dame hoodie I've ever seen in my life, bro.
Oh, yeah. Marcus Freeman in that clothing line, man. Under Armour's missing out on a big, big, big margin they can make on that Marcus Freeman line.
Bro, that hoodie was
like
so cold.
You know, I like that one, and then I like that green bean suit he had on when he talked with Ryan Day and intimidated him at that college game day?
Yeah, out in Vegas after they had done the commercial. Yeah. You a fool.
Well, I got intimidated. We dressed way better than Ohio State's guy, for sure. That's why we're going to win next year.
Oh, man. But, yo, I think there were certain things that he dealt with. And it's Notre Dame, bro. Like, it's just a different place, man. It's a different place. It's Notre Dame. And he could have folded. The team could have folded. That's why I asked if Drew Pine could be considered an unsung hero. You know, because, look, could we throw Tommy Reese in there? Like, yo, you had to trim the offense down and find a way to put up points. Like, this is the offense you built out. It's like your starter gets injured. Now you have to trim that bad fella down and still get production to win games. Dude, it's a lot of people. A lot of people that under the radar were huge successes or were impactful on Notre Dame being able to right the ship, end up 9-4, and be a huge success. I'm interested in seeing where they land in the final rankings, because I think they'll probably be top 15, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we should be top 10 going into next year, just from an expectation standpoint. We'll be better than Michigan, I think, especially if we get Sam Hartman. But we shouldn't be anywhere close to the 20s. And I think it gives us, if anything, a motivation to move up quick with the schedule and having Ohio State as a fourth game. That should be right around the time we should be starting our top 10 run. I'll have high expectations for next year more than I did for this year just passing, just because I think, that quarterback position will be better. And what we have coming down the tank, I'm excited to see a Kenny Minchie play by the time bowl game rolls around.
Kenny Minchie won't be playing in the not the Under Armour. That was last night. But Kenny Minchie will not be playing this weekend in the Army game. He's getting ready to report early to Notre Dame. My guy Ryan Roberts is down there, and he wasn't able to speak to him. But Ryan Roberts said one thing to me that made me feel really happy. He was like, "This dude, Brendan Vernon, is huge." He was like, "Dude, we got a legit rock solid 270 dude coming off the edge." like
That's what I like to hear, man.
he's a big dude. We had a conversation because I think we're going to do a recruiting show tonight. He's had the practices. The 24 kids come down tomorrow for the combine, so he's watched the practices and then the Under Armour game. So we might do a recruiting show tonight. So you guys can check into that. We'll let you know. But that dude, man, he's probably gonna end up 270 at Notre Dame.
Like a Tyson Ford
like a
opposite
solid
side.
man. He was like, dude, we're gonna have a 270 true big dude that can come off the edge. And I'm talking about fire off the edge, which is one of the needs moving forward that could be a championship piece. Right? Unsung heroes, we want to thank everyone inside of that building, inside the program. Chad Bowden was a big time unsung hero when it came to the 23 recruiting class. Big time unsung hero. All of the support staff, everyone that made us feel great when we came down to a practice, to the blue and gold game, that showed us love, that recognized us. Man, we appreciate you. And then, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the parents of the young men that play at Notre Dame, because for their entire educational and athletic careers, they've really been the backbone of what you see each and every week on the field and what they do in the classroom. So shout out to the parents of everybody connected to the Notre Dame program, man. Yep, those are the real unsung heroes for 2022. If you have an unsung hero, feel free to put it in the chat or in the comments after the show. We'd greatly appreciate you. Just looking forward to seeing what things are going to happen this spring, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This transfer portal is getting crazier by the day. Michigan had 2 or 3 defensive linemen jump in the portal yesterday. You wake up today, Oklahoma State has 3 wide receivers in the portal. Anthony Lucas is in the portal. C.J. Williams from USC, who was a former commit to Notre Dame, is in the portal. By the way, he doesn't want to be at Notre Dame. He doesn't want to be at Notre Dame, so I don't think they would want him either. Jay Mickey said what he had to say about him when he decommitted. So it is what it is.
We ain't no Travis Hunters over here.
No, Jeremiah Love and Braylon James. They both looked really good in the Under Armour last night. Jay Nosberry was making plays, according to John Garcia Jr., all week in practices. He could be an unsung hero in this program moving forward. He's definitely a guy that you can see being a captain. And as we get ready to move on to our next topic and welcome our guests into the show in a few moments, the other thing that Ryan Roberts said to me was, dude, this cat Drake Bowen is huge. I'm like, I tried to tell cats. Like, I had this debate with a couple of people. Like, it's not going to take Drake long to get on the field, bro.
No.
He's gonna be on the field definitely in special teams real soon. That dude size wise, he's ready to roll.
Yeah.
Size and speed, he's ready to roll. And they want him to start off at the weak side and just pretty much flow and not have to think as much, just see and go. Yeah, that's what I love about this 23 class. It's a lot of plug and go, especially with the early enrollees. So
Yeah, definitely with the early enrollees, and we're going to see how it works through the depth chart. Who's competing, who's rising, who's falling, getting closer to fall camp, getting ready for the season. Marcus Freeman's got a task on his hands because now he has a lot of good players. The middle of the roster is a lot better. How do you filter the depth? How do you play the right combinations, rotations? 1A, 1B, who's good in what situation? It's a lot of meetings that's going to have to take place with the coaching staff on how they're going to get the right chemistry of the team right outside of just having a bunch of good players. We know we don't want to be a Kentucky basketball team where we're super talented but don't win nothing.
why you throwing shade at Calipari in the squad, man? I actually watched him play LSU last night because of my boy Adam Miller, who's on LSU from Chicago area.
They
It
got
was a
look, for
good game.
instance, Kentucky's supposed to have the number one all time recruiting class coming in next year. So if they don't
Look,
win nothing, not even the SEC title, because
look,
Alabama's good.
bro, look. Cal has wasted more talent, more championship talent than anyone else. Now he gets you to the league, but as far as like championships, he's wasted championship talent more than any other coach, probably in college basketball. It's not even close. So, Lef, I want to bring this up to you. We had a poll that we put up a day and a half ago, and I asked. The poll was better combination in the NFL draft and moving forward in the NFL. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud versus Caleb Williams and Drake Maye. I thought it would be closer than it was. The voting came out 65% to 35% with Drake Maye and Caleb Williams winning the tallies easily. This shocked me. Does that shock you? Like, I could take both, but I'm just saying, I didn't know the disparity would be that large in the voting.
Well, both of them, I think Drake May is just a knockout. Like, just put him in the league right now. Trevor Lawrence type of guy, franchise guy. He built around him. And Caleb Williams got an it factor. It's exciting to watch.
Mm,
I think he's got more excitement to watch um, than the other two.
hmm
Bryce Young and CJ Stroud are just very good quarterbacks. I think they would, get lost in the shuffle of in the league matchups where they probably wouldn't be the favorite at most times, but you put a Caleb Williams or a Drake May in day one, you can go some places in the next 2 or 3 years.
So, would you take the 24 class over 20, that 24 combo over the 23 class? Because I'm biased, bro. You know me.
Yes,
I got
I'm a
Caleb
big
Smith
fan
in
of
a few
Caleb
seconds,
Williams.
but
So
I'm a Bryce Young dude.
I'm a Bryce Young dude too. I just think that it's just the appeal is more with Drake May and Caleb, and I think they're just better prospects. If you're just looking at it from a vacuum, taking a big picture perspective, Drake May's probably got a better body type than all three of them, and he's pretty solid. Sort of like he can throw just as well as CJ.
hmm
He can make plays just as well as Bryce. Maybe Bryce is probably a little bit more creative and can do a little bit more with the wiggle, but Drake May's not far from either one of those. But he's not as exciting as Caleb, who I think is the most exciting out of the three. Caleb's got a little bit more it factor. So the 24, I think, just has more special uniqueness than the 23 class that I think is just really good. I think you can put them in a system, they can be productive. I don't think they'll be superstar level. I think the 24 has superstar potential. I think that's just the difference.
So that ends our first half of the show where we talked about Marcus Freeman. A year later, and the Unsung Heroes of the Notre Dame 2022 football season. Go to Apple Podcasts and Spotify, CFB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown for all of our great content. Leave 5 stars. Leave your comments. We respond to all comments. It's because of ULL Nation that we continue to climb and continue to be successful. And you guys inspire us to wake up every morning, talk college football centered around Notre Dame football. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know we spin it different. All right, it's time to move on to our special guest. And I there's nothing else to say, man, because it's rare that you have two guys with the exact same name coming into a program at the same time, right? So we have this guy coming in as a transfer, and then we have another young man coming in with the exact same name via the 23 recruiting class, but we are pleased to welcome in now Notre Dame wide receiver Kaleb Smith to the Lucky Lefty podcast. What's up, Kay? How you feeling, my brother?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
How was your holiday?
No, it was great. Got to spend some time with family. Being a college football player, you rarely get home for holidays, so it was definitely
Rarely.
Had a long
That's
break.
right.
So we want to start off because we just left off talking about quarterbacks, and there's no one better to talk about quarterbacks than wide receivers, right? And so we put a poll out there, like which combination, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, do you feel like is going to be the better combination in the NFL? And shockingly, the 24 class got 65% of the vote. How do you feel about those combos? What side would you sit on?
I mean, just playing against Drake Maye this past season, I saw some talent that he put on the field that I definitely think he's gonna be up there when it comes to draft time.
Yeah, I mean, my first time really paying attention to him was when Notre Dame went up against them, and I think what shocked me is his athleticism.
Yeah.
Right. And speaking of the athletic quarterback, you have an athletic quarterback that you were locked into the Gator Bowl, bro. I saw you on tweeting on social media. You were locked into the Gator Bowl. What were your lasting thoughts as you watched not only Notre Dame but Tyler Buchner?
Yeah, I mean, just from the wide standpoint, just seeing Notre Dame play ball, because I mean, during the season, I'm film game planning, my opposing team, but just being able to actually sit back, knowing that's where I'm going, knowing that's where I'm gonna be playing at, and just seeing them play ball. There were times in the game where it wasn't looking pretty, and they just kept going at it, finding ways to make plays, and that's something that I wanted to be a part of. You have a team full of playmakers, get them the ball and then they're gonna make plays. And the QB situation, he was, I mean, he won the MVP for the bowl game. I'm not correct, but he's stuck in there, definitely stuck in the pocket, and he's definitely athletic too. And I saw a little bit of him during their bowl prep practices when I took my OV, and I was impressed.
What's your expectation like coming from Virginia Tech to Notre Dame, where you've played Notre Dame, what was it, 2 years ago, and now you're going into the gauntlet of what it can offer? Is it excitement? Like, how do you feel making that transition?
I mean, it feels like the next step up in college football is what I'm taking now. My time at Tech, I achieved what I wanted to achieve there, and then now it's time for that next step. And ultimately, the goal is to play in the NFL, and Notre Dame is, I can't think of a better stepping stone to that.
You talk about Notre Dame helping you and you helping Notre Dame. I think you bring something that most people think is needed in that wide receiver room, right? Mm-hmm. Young wide receiver room in need of some leadership, especially with the departure of Braden Lenzy and Avery Davis. Is that something that Coach Stuckey talked to you about on your OV?
Oh, absolutely. Him and Coach Freeman definitely, highlighted that. And my, former captain abilities is, something that they're looking to bring into that room and to the team in general.
Have you got a chance to look in the room and see something, some talent, something that flashes, anything that's standing out that you're excited to go into that room with?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I got to sit in the position meetings and all that and watch the practice film and then go out watch practice with him. But, definitely Tobias Merriweather, I could not believe he was a freshman. Just to see him move around, I'm like, dude, man, this man is like he looks the part. Like, I'm excited for him, excited to play with him. And Lorenzo Styles, man, he's fast as lightning. watching them play. But yeah, I mean, I'm just excited, just that brother being around guys that have the same mindset as you. Is I think it was the biggest kind of factor for me choosing where I wanted to go. Everybody that goes to Notre Dame, they have the dreams of playing in the NFL. And places I've been and seen, it's not always the case.
Now, when you're looking at the room also, do you see where you can go in there and add that next level? Because that's what we're really looking for also, is that dynamic player at the receiver room that can change the game for us. Do you see where you can fit within that structure that we have now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, my biggest asset, I would say, is, just that contested catchability. And, you throw it up, you have a strong feeling that, your guy's going to come down with it. And those crucial third downs, that's kind of where I made my money at Virginia Tech. But yeah, I definitely see myself fitting in. And then their offense is, I feel like it's better fit than a previous one, being able to move you around a little bit, get the coverage ID'd. And then I'm excited for that.
Once again, we're talking to Notre Dame wide receiver Kaleb Smith right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell. Smash that like button. We respond to all comments. It's the Lucky Lefty podcast. You already know. We spin it different. You mentioned that game, Left, that he played in. That was a classic game, bro. That was a big-time game, prime time. Tyler Buckner comes in, leads Notre Dame back after an early deficit. Virginia Tech responds. Notre Dame's able to come up with the victory with the Kevin Alston 2-point conversion. Just what was it like being a part of that environment? And did it kind of give you an inkling of what you might be walking into as a Notre Dame player, facing teams each and every week, with teams pretty much feeling like that's the biggest game on their schedule?
Exactly. I mean, I remember just being in that when that the game's the next game. And it actually happened to us 2 years in a row, 2019 and 2020, that y'all came back and, ended up beating us in the last drive. So, and seeing that and, seeing that as the player that was on the opposing side, now that I'm on the other side now, like, it's exciting now, being a part of the team that finished the game and just has that killer instinct to put it away.
So you are from Virginia. Now, Virginia, we got Chris Tyree. He's from Virginia. CJ Procyse, who Malik played with. He's a Virginia dude. We've had Thomas Jones on the show, who decommitted from Notre Dame and ended up at Virginia. He's from the border between Virginia and Tennessee. And he was talking to us, and pretty much everybody we talked to, they're like, yo, it depends upon where you come from in Virginia. Like, the vibe is different. Like, you are in between Charlottesville and Richmond, if I'm not mistaken, from Louisa County. So, like, what's the vibe in Louisa County? How is it different from that western part of Virginia and, the Virginia Beach area where a lot of other great athletes come from?
Yeah, Louisa is kind of it's very similar to Blacksburg, and that's kind of the reason why I did go to Virginia Tech. And it's a small town that it bleeds football. And that's the biggest thing for me growing up. My dad, he was all-time great at Louisa County football, and went to the University of Richmond, and was drafted by the Houston Oilers. My cousin, same thing, went to Richmond, was drafted by the New York Giants. I mean, it's just a town that just breeds football, and then that's kind of what you get from that. And then for like 757, that's just a little bit different. We have a lot of guys that like to talk and say, 804 versus 757 all the time in Virginia Tech. But, it's just that Virginia talent is crazy. And I remember me and Chris Tyree, we came up in the same, scouting camps together, going to different schools together, visiting and all of that. So I remember him, we got to connect a little bit on my official visit.
Man, that's dope. What's your greatest story coming up that you could say, this is when I knew it was football? Because you mentioned it. Yeah. We were going to talk about it. The NFL bloodlines, they run thick, the history of your family in that area. But for you personally, when was it the moment that you said, yeah, this is what I want to do?
I mean, probably since a kid, honestly, but then it became real, when, maybe in sophomore, junior year, I started getting that college interest that, I was hoping for and expecting. And so once then my first offer from University of Virginia, once I got that first offer, I'm like, okay, it's real now. Like, it's only up from here.
Absolutely. And especially when you think about it and knowing that you taking that next step, what is it that you want to work on going from Tech, going to Notre Dame, that you got a chance to talk to Tommy Rees, I'm sure, about, that you want to be able to go in there and get ready to go to NFL, I'm assuming, as well?
Yeah, the biggest thing that's also one of the reasons I left was just, the route tree that I was had the chance of running. It's, you watch my film, I made probably half my yards on go balls. And, the toughest percentage play of the game is where I led the team in. So just, expanding my route tree, moving around different maybe in the slide, the tight end spot, the outside boundary one, field one, just being able to move around, run different routes, the option routes, and that's something that the scouts, relay to me that they're looking for, and just to see that part of it and part of the game, and also just going up against the best of the best too.
So you don't mind playing outside and inside, some tight end maybe, but also some X receivers, some backside boundary receiver, because that's usually, I know you watch Michael Mayer all season tear it up, so I know you probably was licking your chops at what we could do in the middle of the field as well.
Yeah, no, they're definitely playing a little bit in the boundary or in the boundary two and field two, that slot position. That's something that I'm excited for, and I've been dying for that opportunity to get those matchups and to go across the middle and to really burn them over the top.
So when you come in and you meet with Marcus Freeman, what was your full conversation like with Chancey Stuckey? Chancey Stuckey, we were talking about unsung heroes, and Braden Lenzy was one of our unsung heroes for a lot of different reasons for this season for Notre Dame. But Chancey Stuckey coming into a situation, he really didn't have a lot of experience. People didn't know what we were getting as a wide receiver coach. And immediately he plants a fat flag in recruiting, hauls in a top 5 class. Then he comes in and you start to see the development of guys that have been in their room for over a year. What did you get from him? What was the relationship? Was it immediate impact? Was it an immediate connection with him? And make sure you get him some Ethiopian coffee if you want to stay on his good side.
I'm already with that.
That's right. That's
right. Man, it's all kinds of coffee. But no, Coach Stuck, since our first phone call together, that bonds just kind of started rolling. He's big on faith and family, and that's something that's important to me as well. And I think he runs like even a Bible study group amongst the team, and so that's something that he got me on my spiritual side, and that's what he checked that box. And then just football wise, I've had coaches. I mean, I've had 3 receiver coaches in my career so far, so it's kind of been a revolving door, and each kind of coach showed me like different kind of styles of coaching. So the biggest thing that I've seen from him, and being in that position room and being out in practice, is just the different drills that you're going to be repping every day and getting better. And he also had like a slideshow that translates this drill to this game, to this play. This is what we worked on. This is what you do in the play, and that's how it led to that play. And that's something that just seeing that and seeing that have a plan for you're not just going out there and catching jugs for no reason. Like everything he does has a reason for it, and that's something that really stuck with me.
Yo, that's fantastic. Kaleb, before we let you go, we greatly appreciate you giving us some time. We know it's been busy. You've been trying to get settled and moving from your old spot into your new spot down there in South Bend.
Right.
With that being said, what are your expectations for the 2023 season?
That's right.
Individually and as a team.
Yeah, talk your stuff.
Talk that stuff.
As a receiver, I always want to win the Looking Off award. That's always up there. That's on my mirror every day. See that, but for the team, I want to take this team to the playoffs, and I want to bring it home too, not just go. I want to take it to the playoffs and then bring that national title home, because just seeing the talent at the practice and the talent coming in, there's no reason we shouldn't be able to do that.
All right, so Leak, we got to put him on game. He's down there. I don't know if he's going to be able to get that home cooked meal he just experienced over the holidays.
Yeah,
but we got to put him up on a couple of spots left. Tell him a couple of spots to go to while he's in South Bend to get some of that good food.
Well, shoot, the way Eddie Street growing, they got a lot of everything. They even got a little grocery store over there, as crazy as it is. But if you want some good food from the good side of town, the GC side of town, check out Angels. It's outside the city, but it's a great soul food spot. The head women's coach basketball. That's it, right?
The woman's head.
Yeah, Ivy, she knows about it. So ask her about it. I think I said that wrong. But ask her about it. Angels food. It's good soul food. Frankie's, if you like little short ribs, little sweet barbecue, you know what I'm saying? Frankie's is where you want to go. It's a little in the city. Don't worry about how it looks or nothing, because how it looks is not how it tastes. How about that? So you find Frankie's. For sure. And then there's some nice spots. If you like Chinese food, I put Shaun on this. Go to
Yeah, you
Wu
did.
Cheese.
Yes.
Wu Cheese is real solid.
Okay.
Just some different flavor that Notre Dame kicks at you. I know you think South Bend, Indiana don't got flavor, but I got some spots.
Hey man, send them all my way. I've been eating from the same 3 restaurants the last 4 years in Blacksburg. You know, I'm ready to expand my palate a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. You're gonna love Training Table. Don't let them tell you no differently. Training Table is bomb. They give you all type of stuff. I don't know how Virginia Tech was, but Training Table at Notre Dame is good. But you hear it from me first.
I got you.
And if you ever have time on a weekend with your significant other and you travel up to Chicago, I got you.
Hey, that's our plan. We're already trying to plan that. You know, my boy Kaleb Herbert, he played for the Bears, so we trying to get him to see him.
Yeah,
right.
KH is a good dude. KH is a good dude. So definitely, we thank you for joining us today, man. I got one question.
I'm here.
Timberland or Pharrell?
Timberland.
Woo!
I think so. I mean,
Wow.
that's tough, but someone go right there.
You gonna rock with Tim? Tim. You know what? Tim is kind of like the foundation, right? Like Pharrell's the biggest star, but Tim is kind of the foundation.
It's like,
I had to ask the Virginia boy that question. I had to get that one in before we let him go. Hey, we greatly appreciate you, Kaleb. Hopefully, we'll get you back on sometime during a successful season, we'll see you hoist up the Biletnikoff Trophy at the end of 2023, man. Speaking into existence, and it will happen, man. We greatly appreciate you and support you and the full Notre Dame football family. From LL Nation, man, enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the rest of your season. When are you guys report in like a week?
Yes, I'll move in the 13th. I think we start school the 8th, 17th, 18th.
Game time. Get ready.
Hey,
man, snow boots on too, man.
I
Absolutely.
already got them. I'm in Pittsburgh right now. It's been snowing since I got
here.
Hey, man, enjoy the rest of your time and stay healthy, all right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. LL Nation, that was Notre Dame wide receiver Kaleb Smith. I forgot to ask him if he was going to stick with 80.
You got to change that number up, man. 80 a big number to have.
Kane Barong just left, so I think it's open. I do think it's open. But, yeah. That was a great interview, bro.
Yeah, man.
I love what he said about Tobias, bro. Like, when you see a dude
and it's crazy that
immediately mention Tobias, he's like, yo, this dude moves different.
We've had him sitting on the bench all season. That's a crime.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, anytime you mention that, it's like, if he can see it and he hasn't even been around here, yeah, we need to get that dude on the field.
That's a fact.
Immediately. But he got a lot of snaps in the bowl game. You know, they didn't connect on, I think that was the second quarter. He had a slant, and Tyler threw a little bit low. He injured himself on that play. That was an opportunity for him to make a play. And he had some other opportunities to get in and 3 wide receiver sets. But future's bright at Notre Dame, left. Future is definitely bright. We thank Kaleb Smith for joining us. Don't forget Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CFB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. Great content each and every day. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. Before we get out of here, left, Marcus Freeman, if you had to give a grade for his first year, what do you think you would land?
You get a B-, C+, B-. I think games like Stanford and Marshall can't happen, but I think there's room for growth. Because if you got a B now, then I mean you getting inches after. But now with a C+, B-, you know, we can make some leaps and bounds, like beating Ohio State, beating SC, getting to the playoffs. There's a lot of room to grow from one season to the next. So it's not terrible, but it's not great either. But it's a good job. It's a good job to start because it's a hard job to be a first-year head coach at Notre Dame in any aspect?
I think B- is absolutely fair. And, you have to include everything. Like, we're looking at recruiting, which if it had ended differently, because what I'm hearing from the Army All-American practices is that dude, look, that cat dude, man, look, I can't even talk straight. Look, Keon Keeley is down there showing out, bro. He's just the dude. Everybody's like, dude, everyone I talk to is like, yo, that dude is different. Like, that dude is like day one different. Right? And that stings, right? So from a recruiting standpoint, what he did to elevate the recruiting is good. He called himself the lead recruiter for everybody. But he wasn't able to hold on to guys like Dante Moore, Keon Keeley, right? So you have to consider that, and still you have to consider the haul he brought in on the field. Did things get corrected? Did they end up 9-4 after a disappointing start? Yes. Marshall and Stanford could not happen. It's Notre Dame. You're absolutely right, bro. There's no way you can get around that. Can't happen. Can't happen. But what he was working with and the identity he set forth, and to get kids to buy into that identity and to see the development. Tyler Buckner wasn't the same quarterback that showed up in the Gator Bowl that played against Marshall. He wasn't. Still needs to get rid of the turnovers and the interceptions, but he was a much better quarterback in the Gator Bowl than he was against Marshall. And that's saying something because he had not played, but he was still better. And that goes to coaching, that goes to instilling confidence in the kid. It goes to belief. You heard Logan Diggs. When he made the mistakes, he was like, man, you don't need to talk to me. I'm good. Like, we straight. And, you like you said it, he was able to work the rust off because he knew what he had around him.
That's right.
He knew he was going to have opportunities to put points up and make plays. And that's what Notre Dame is all about. And that's what Caleb Smith knows. He just said it. Like, yo, I know what I'm walking into. I know what I'm walking into. I know what's around me. I know I can go out and be successful. And when he says, yo, I'm trying to win a championship, that's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear moving into 2023.
That's right. And we bringing the right people in. And, we may lose some, but I know we'll win some in the future under Marcus Freeman. Getting Keon on your first year, I mean, that's a lot to be proud of. That's on a Dion level, and we'll get there. So excited that we rounded the year better than what we started, and it's even looking greater for the year after. So excited to see how this evolves.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Great show today. Unsung Heroes. Marcus Freeman a year after. Caleb Smith joined us to discuss his decision to come to Notre Dame through the transfer portal. Left, I saw your boy Unc Shannon was a little upset at the start of the show today.
He shouldn't have aired Skip Out and not showed up yesterday. So whatever.
Yeah. You know what?
That's your partner, dog. Don't do that to your partner.
You know what? On that note, you already know what time it is.
Petticoat, Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty historic? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest story today brought to you by Onora Whiskey at OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Hey, look at here, man. You just mentioned it. You think Uncle Shannon was petty yesterday, huh?
Why you? Yeah, there was no reason not to come in to work, man.
Yeah, you could tell your boy was mad uncomfortable yesterday doing that solo too.
Yeah, it's like why you? I don't know. I think they had a nice little run.
I
I
think
think
that's
Shannon's podcast is blowing up.
I think also that's a little residue from that whole thing weeks ago where Shannon felt like he kind of disrespected him. Things were kind of going. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, we do something a little something before two something is a better show right now, in my opinion. Like I
Well,
could watch
yeah, I mean,
Shannon do that.
you got. It's a different. They talking about everything. Which Shannon's branched off into outside of just bringing on like Isaiah Thomas. He brought Waka Flocka on last time.
Last time, yeah.
So I think that social media is crazy because it can drive you into perceiving different things. And I think Shannon is loving the attention that social media is bringing, and especially them in his ear about you doing your thing on your own. You don't need Skip, that kind of thing, adding fuel to the fire. So I think from a chemistry, they're great together. When they're talking about sports, I just think they're just both petty.
Well, I got a laugh out of it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I got a laugh out of it too, though.
That cat Shannon. First of all, man, whoever his tailor is, man, just add a quarter of an inch on the
Oh
front,
my goodness,
man.
you still hating on Shannon's suits, man? Best dressed man on TV.
Absolutely, with the clothes that don't fit. The best dress don't fit. The best dressed clothes that don't fit. Award goes to Shannon Sharp. Absolutely. Hey, bro, let me tell you something.
Just a quarter inch.
Oh. Man, absolutely. I'm going to have to put Blueface on the petty train, man.
Social media disaster. Reality TV star disaster.
I just don't understand, man. Like, walk away, bro. Right? I think in life, everyone has had a situation where they just had to walk away. Just walk away. Yeah, you probably could do something that will make you look like or make you seem like, oh, I'm a man, I'm handling my business. Man, just walk away. It's not worth it, dude. And the fact that you don't even recognize that you have a lot to lose just infuriates me, man. It infuriates me. So I don't know. Look, if you want to laugh at something funny as we get ready to let people go, there is this platform called, oh man, what is the platform on YouTube, bro? The guy that, he has this fascination with the art of dialogue. The Art of Dialogue is the YouTube page. He has a fascination with like West Coast, Tupac, Death Row. He recently interviewed Keith Murray, bro. And Keith Murray pretty much outed certain individuals. Do you think it's petty at this point, years later, to talk about who you've been with? Like you don't know who this person, if they have kids, nothing. Keith Murray has to go on the petty train, bro. Because he got so graphic with it, bro. It was just like, what are you doing, man? I was like, come on, man.
Man, you put that camera in front of some people, they don't know how to act, man.
Bro, this is when content, like I'm all for creating content, but it's like, come on, we can story tell, we can do a lot of things. Man.
Once Irv Gotti got up there, it just was so open about everything. It's just these older people that get in front of these cameras act.
But you could tell Irv was a dude that got no play until he got some money. He left, that you've been around those dudes, left. Left, you've been around those dudes in the crew, whether it's grammar school, high school.
They don't get the concept of it's never going away. You know, this is on the internet, and they just be out there just
wild.
Talking on all the stuff that they said that they glad social media wasn't around for in the 90s. They talking all about it now. So
just wilding.
Like, what's the difference?
Right? I mean, this dude, Keith Murray, is on his Jaguar right movement right now. Just
crazy.
Man, talking crazy. Lucky Lefty podcast. Great show. We talked to Kaleb Smith. We talked about the unsung heroes of the 2022 season. And Marcus Freeman a year later, man. We greatly appreciate you guys. Have a great Wednesday. But most of all, you have to make sure that you spin it different.